So how do we change this? Let me tell you, we have a plan. How do we make this different? How do we get somebody in there? Well, I want you to introduce you to someone. I want you to not just introduce him, but when he stands next year, I want you to vote for him. Please, ladies and gentlemen, my man Nick for Mayor.
Hello everybody, my name is Nick Buckley and I'm your independent candidate for Mayor of Greater Manchester next year. And we do need a new mayor. We need change. Let me start by saying the obvious. It's a sick society that doesn't protect its children. And we've become a sick society over many, many decades, over many governments, over many decades. It never seems to stop, from Jimmy Savile to other BBC presenters, to the grooming gangs, and nobody ever seems to get a grip of it. And there's a reason why. And the reason why, it's called politics. It's because everybody only cares about themselves once you reach a certain level. And I'm tired of it, and that's why I'm standing. I'm tired of people moaning. I'm tired of people doing nothing about it. And I'm sick of the way our country's going. We seem to be in a managed decline. That's all we're managing now. We used to rule the world, and now we can't even protect our children in any of our cities or towns. Now, if I'm elected, and it's a big ask, and I'm going to talk about what the help I need from you in a minute. But if I'm elected, let me tell you what I'm going to promise to do. And this is on video now, which will go on YouTube. So if I don't live up to this, you can point out and say, this is what you said when you came to us in Oldham. This is what you said. I'm going to look at all the reviews of Greater Manchester Police into the grooming gang scandal. I'm not going to commission another review. What's the point? We've got a dozen. They've led to no action. No one's been held accountable. So let's not waste 2-3 years and £500,000 of a review. I'm going to sit down with people like Maggie Oliver and some people in this group here today. I'm going to go through it with a solicitor and lawyers. We're going to find every senior police officer who is incompetent, who was corrupt, who did not fulfil their duty, and who failed the girls. And what we're going to do, we're going to sack them. And once we sack them, if they take us to court, that's fine. Take us to court for unfair dismissal, and we'll go through all the evidence in court, and you may win. And we may have to pay you off in court, but that's fine, because we've shown the people of the country, this is what happens. This is what happens when you let our children down. We will sack you. You may technically win in court, but I don't care, because it's public money anyway. And that will send a message throughout the whole of the UK. We'll have senior police officers going, do you know what? I'm going to have to take this a little bit more seriously now, because my job's on the line. My pension's on the line. And do you know what? I care more about my pension than I do you. So therefore, I'm going to do the best job I can, because all I care for is my job and my pension. And then what I'll do after that, I can't sack councillors as mayor. I won't be able to sack council employees. But we'll go through those reports, and the mayor will stand up in front of TV and will name and shame the people who should be sacked from the councils. And I will stand there and say, this head of service let children down in your area of Bury, Oldham, Rochdale, Manchester. And as the people, you need to sack them at the ballot box. You need to hold your elected officials accountable. Because it's the only way we get change is through the ballot box. And if you're stood here today and you're against child grooming and child paedophilia and you don't vote, shame on you. Shame on you, because you're part of the problem. Some of these councillors are only elected on 18% of the population. 18%, 1 in 5 people. And you can get a corrupt politician, and 4 out of 5 people don't even vote. Well, you shouldn't be complaining, because you're part of the problem. Yes. And we need to hold our friends, family, neighbours to account and say, why didn't you vote? And ask them to vote for me. And if they don't like my policies, that's fine. Don't vote for me, that's fine. But vote for somebody. Find someone you like and vote for them and get them into power. It's the only way we're going to change it. So, I've got other policies you're going to like as well. So I'm tired of the waste and incompetence of our tax money. How the councils, the police, the NHS, all these public services waste our money, and we say nothing and we do nothing. So the NHS is short of money, but they've got money to paint their buildings in rainbows. What's that about? Why are we allowing that? And who do we hold accountable for that? We hold no one accountable because we don't understand where the money's going. And who is in charge of the NHS for the North West? I don't know, and you don't know, so we can't hold them accountable. But as mayor, I'll be able to go on TV and go, this is the person who's wasted £500,000 on some crazy scheme we don't want. And as the public, you need to get angry. And then you need to write to your MP and your councillors and going, I'm not voting for you again unless you sort that NHS out, unless you sort the Greater Manchester Transport. I'm not voting for you. And the public anger will change what the politicians concentrate on and what their priorities are. Politicians only want your vote. They don't care what they do. They're only worried about the next election so they can be voted into power again. And they will switch sides, they will flip-flop. They don't believe in most of the policies they have. They don't care. Their job is to be elected again. And if enough people can convince politicians the way you get elected is by doing what the public want you to do, they will switch sides. They're career politicians. Think about it when you're at work and you're looking for promotion. You'll do whatever you want. You'll do whatever you can to get promoted. That's how politicians think. We need to hold them accountable. Now, the mayor election next year is the 2nd of May 2024. I've got a huge hill to climb, you know, and the odds at the moment are looking in my favour. But we're still 7-8 months away. Now, how do I win that election? I win that election by people like you who leave here today and go, I like the sound of that man. I like what he's talking about. He's not going to be perfect, and do you know what? I won't be perfect. I'm not going to do everything you like as an individual, because that's impossible to do. You need to look at some of the main policies and go, do you know what? That is something different. That is something I want. And I don't mind that I don't agree with everything he says, but those couple of things will change Greater Manchester. And then you need to take some responsibility, and you need to speak to your family and your friends, and you need to say, this is a guy we need to get behind. This is a guy we need to follow on social media, and look for it, Nick Buckley for Mayor. Follow me on social media, start sharing the posts, start commenting, start talking about why what I'm saying is what you need in your community. Because unless you want it, unless you fight for it, why should your friends and family and neighbours do it? And all that happens, we'll be here in a year's time, 2 years' time, having the same conversations about the same failing services, about our children being abused, and we'll all talk the same talk again, and we'll all clap at each other, and nothing will change. And surely we're at a point now where we want change, and we only get it in our country through the democratic vote, through the ballot box. Everything else is a waste of time. People fought and died for us, for the commoners, for the uneducated, for the stupid, for us to have a vote. Because no one wanted us to have it, because the people in power knew we could be dangerous. But the clever people, the elite, they pulled a trick on us, and they convinced us that our vote doesn't matter. So what did we do? We took handouts from the government, and we sat at home with our Sky TV, and we thought, watching Coronation Street, thinking, I don't need to vote. You do need to vote. And that's the message out of today from this event. Unless you change, unless you vote, unless you convince your family and friends to vote, nothing is going to change. And surely that's what we want. We're British, we're English, we're the greatest people in the world, the biggest empire in the world, the most creations, the most inventions. We created the modern world. And now we're turning into a second-class country, and we're allowing our children to be abused and raped. And if we're not careful, we're going to have to remove the word great in front of the word Britain, because we won't be great. And whose fault will it be? It will be ours fault, because we live in a democracy. So no more moaning, no more complaining. Get out and do what you can, and that's why you're here today. Make sure your family and friends do it, and make sure you vote, and make sure you vote for change. Even if you don't vote for me, vote for someone who inspires you, someone who says something you want to see implemented. Now I'm going to be here for a little bit longer. Come and ask me questions. Please ask me questions. What am I going to do to the 3 Rochdale groomers? This is, again, that national shame again. What I'm going to do as mayor is I'm going to get behind the campaign to get them 3 deported. If we can't deport foreign criminals from our shores, if we can't deport foreign paedophiles from our shores, then we're not a free people, we're not a democracy. Now, how do we do that? The mayor doesn't have the power to deport somebody, so no, I'm not lying to you, so let me not give you false promises. But what I can do...
The councillors rape the same girls as well.
Possibly.
Not possibly.
But let's talk about... Let me answer this point first on the 3 from Rochdale. So I can't deport them, but what I can do is hold the Home Office to account. What I can do as mayor is take the Home Office to court and demand answers and demand some action. And what I can do after that, if that doesn't work, is I as mayor can say, I don't want you living here in Greater Manchester. I can't force them to leave, but public pressure can, and I can say, you don't deserve to live in Greater Manchester with decent folk because you're paedophiles, and I don't want you living here. And public pressure can force those men to leave if we can't get them deported. That's the least I can do. Yeah, so we're talking about the involvement of social services and the incompetence. So that's the point I talked about a minute ago. So as mayor, when we look through all these reviews, we'll be highlighting the failing social services, but not just the departments, that gets us nowhere. We need to point out the heads of those services and the senior managers, and we need to say, these failed, and you shouldn't be in social service anymore.
We've got one in Rochdale, Julia Hassel, she said
Caroline Fashini as well.
And we should be calling for those heads to vote if we can prove they were incompetent and if they didn't live up to their duty as heads and senior managers of social services. So I'm going to have a policy on the family. We celebrate everything in Greater Manchester now. We celebrate diversity, we celebrate sexuality, we celebrate all types of communities. What we don't celebrate is the family. And the family is the cornerstone of every society. So as mayor, the mayor's office will not be funding any projects that does not promote the family. We will not be funding any projects that only benefit a certain type of the community or a certain type of people. If your project, your service benefits the family, then we're looking at that. And then if we're looking at, the gentleman here talked about pride in Greater Manchester. People can hold pride events across Greater Manchester. Not got a problem with that at all. You can hold any event you want. Hopefully we're free people in a free society. But pride will not be a celebration of degenerates. Pride will not be a celebration of perverts openly on the streets. Indecent behaviour on the streets of Pride, you'll be arrested. Because I'm not having that in public. Whatever you do in your bedroom is you can do in your bedroom, not got a problem. And we shouldn't have a problem what adults do. But Pride will change in Greater Manchester if I'm elected. Because I will not be using public money to fund the police, to police events that don't promote family and family values. If you want to do things as an adult, then you can do it, it's legal, but we're not going to promote it. I want to promote the best future for Greater Manchester, and it has to be the family values, looking after our older people, looking after our vulnerable people and children. That's the priority. Not splitting us into groups against each other, white against black, Christians against Muslims, straights against gays. Those days have to stop. We have to come together as communities, as regions, as a country, and we need to celebrate the family because we've all got that in common. We all come from families, we all want families, and we all know the benefit of families. No more splitting us into groups, because that's how they control us. Because if they can use one group against another group, we need to come together under shared values. But again, my last message is make sure you vote, and if you like some of the things I say, vote for me next May. Follow me on social media, Nick Buckley for Mayor, and start talking to your family and friends and get them to vote. Otherwise, we'll never have change.
Nick Buckley, there you go. a man who I can get behind, a man who I am going to vote for. I hope you do the same. Anyone who's seen these streets of today, share it so people can hear what he's just said. Yeah, he's going to take the Home Office of Court to deport the Rochdale Free. The other thing, which he hasn't mentioned, which I absolutely love, and I know Oldhamers will like this one as well, he's going to give us a referendum, if he can, on whether we're part of Greater Manchester or we're going back to Lancashire, which is, well, from Rochdale, that's what I am. I'm a Lancashire lad, and that's what we want to go back to. So he's going to have a say in that, he's going to give us a say in that, which is more than we got under Andy Burnham and his cronies. Get Burnham out. Burnham out. Out.